Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for being today with us. Welcome for a new session of the Process Professor. I'm really happy and I'm really glad to be with you today. I hope that you enjoy our today's session. For the ones that doesn't know me, my name is Kevin Guerrero, and I am part of the marketing team, of the product marketing team, and I am actually the one that is running these Process Professor sessions. So thank you so much. Please relax, enjoy the time. We're going to have an amazing time today. We have a pretty interesting topic that we will be covering during our session. And I am currently I am actually the technical marketing manager for Bizagi, aka the Process Professor. And today we have an excited topic that is creating a case management app with Bizagi. This is going to be what we will be talking today, what we will be covering, and I hope that you enjoy a lot our today's session. If it is the first time that you are in one of our Process Professor sessions, thank you so much for your time, thank you so much for your interest, and thank you so much for being with us today. The way on how the Process Professor works is with the following structure. We have created this space and we have created this program at the beginning of this year, and our main objective is to open a space where our customers, our partners, our community, and in general, anyone that is interested in our Bizagi platform can have a free space where they can learn from some of the most important topics that we have seen in the market, where we can discuss about important and trending topics and trending options that we have seen that are relevant right now to talk or to discuss when we're talking about digital transformations, right? And one space where actually also our community can come here, make suggestions, ask questions, resolve any queries that you have with the help of an expert in Bizagi. The way on how it works is that we are going to have always one first section in our Process Professor where we will be talking and discussing about one general topic, the topic that it will be maybe the main focus of each session. Today is going to be how to create case management apps with Bizagi. Then we're going to have some additional time where we're going to show you a couple things of the topics or features that are being discussed during the sessions directly in our products. So it can be that you will be able to see, something in Bizagi Modeler, something in Bizagi Studio, something in our Bizagi Automation, something using connectors, widgets, any of the features that we got in our platform, and you will be able to see it. And finally, we are going to have a free space and completely free space for everyone in the audience to ask any question that you have regarding our platform. Please take into account that this section or this time, the last part of the session, is completely open for any Bizagi topic. So what's the meaning of this? You don't have to just do questions or ask questions regarding the topic that we're covering in our today's session. No, if you got a question about, modeling or simulation or process library or a connector or a widget or an integration or RPA, it doesn't matter. Whatever you have a question, you can use it and you can do it at the end of the session. And I will do my best to help you and to resolve the query that you get. Okay? So welcome, relax. Process Professor, it is a program that is being on from the beginning of this year, from February of 2021. We are running these sessions every second Thursday of the month. So if you are interested in one of the sessions, you can always register for the next session and you will be able to attend completely for free. And always remember that also at the end of every session, you will be able to find the recording of the session directly in our website, where you can go back later and review maybe previous sessions to check again maybe one concept, or if you want to maybe just check again one of the videos. So sit down, relax, enjoy, and let's start with our today's session. So today we will be talking about something that is pretty exciting. It is a topic that it has been asked a lot from our community, from our customers, from our partners, and it is how to create case management apps with Bizagi. And here, the topics that we will be covering is how it has been the processes evolution in the market, how we have seen that actually situations, business, and even the way on how business are done have been changed recently with new technologies and new ways of customers consuming products and services. we will be talking about one approach that is being used of some type of processes that are the ones that we call classical processes and are the ones that follow this approach that is one size fits all, right? We will be able to see and to understand when this is a good idea, when it applies, and we can use it in a good way, and when definitely maybe we need a completely different view for this point. The third topic that we will be talking today is going to be something about design thinking and how we can use actually design thinking when we can create these case management apps in Bizagi. And finally, we will see all the case management options that we have in Bizagi that will help you, that will support, and that will actually accelerate your business transformation when you want to do case management apps with Bizagi. So let's start right now with our session. And I would like to start with a really important quote from one of the most important analysts in the market, that is Gartner. Gartner, in one of the market guides that they did for the Intelligent Business Process Management Suites in 2020, they include this regarding actually case management apps, and I think it's pretty important for us, and it's going to be a good way to open our session today. And it's, look, increased interest in improving information worker productivity through automation has surfaced case management as a prime example of a unstructured process style where the exception is the norm. Each case is a unique situation that involves complex interactions between content, people, applications, and regulatory policies to achieve an optimal outcome. So we cannot deny this anymore. It's completely clear for everyone, and is that definitely one of the main objectives that we have in every single company is that we want to increase, we want to improve, and we want to accelerate basically worker productivity. Every single employee productivity we want to maximize in one way. But we have seen, and we need to understand, and we need to put in the map that not all processes can be structured processes. Not every single situation or every business situation will be step A, B, C, D, point, period. No, we need to understand that according to the business situation where we are working, it is possible to have completely unstructured situations, unstructured processes dynamically, that it's going to change, or that every single case is going to be unique, because every single case have different information, different approaches, different data, and different expertise from the users that are working on them. So case management must be put on the table. Case management is a great way on how we can increase not only every single worker productivity, but also even the way on how they feel on their business, the way on how they feel on their daily activities. Because if we are able to understand those needs, to understand what it makes unique every single worker and which is the information that is relevant to them, we are going to be able to give them access, tool, and options to be even better in the way on how they operate their business. So this is going to be my starting point for our presentation today. And I want to point into the table, or I want for everyone to think about that, is that recently we have seen a huge evolution in the way on how businesses are operating. We have seen that changes are appearing every single day, that the way on how we were used to consume or to acquire one product or one service change dramatically every single day. And something that is taking part of this evolution is that our business are evolving, definitely, but we need to be sure that our processes evolve in the same pace. If we're not able to evolve our processes in the same pace, at some point, we are going to be out. We are not going to be able to contain or to continue with the pace and try to keep our business running. At some point, we are going to be out. And regarding this business evolution and the way on how it changed and how the technology, how platforms, how everything that we have seen in the market makes that something simple change, I would like that we think about a little bit, or one simple example on it. Let's go back a couple years ago, right? Let's go back, I don't know, 50 or 70 years ago or 30 years ago even, and let's think about how we used to travel, right? Like if you want it by car, right? What it used to be if we want to go from point number A to point number B. If we were in one city and we want to go to the other one, how it was the way on how we were traveling years ago. And probably most of you will say paper maps, right? We were used to buy a paper map in a gas station, or I don't know, in one tourist installation or tourism facility, and buy a paper map that allowed me to know how I am going to be able to go from point A to point B, which is the highway that I have to take, which is the exit number that I have to go out. And that was the way on how we were traveling many years ago. And let's say that this was Maps 1.0. It was the first version of the traveling option and having maps with us. If we think about with the time, with the evolution, with the technology, right, we can say that at some point we found and we got Maps 2.0. And Maps 2.0 is what maybe we were actually calling, or what we were finding at some point with GPS, right? So it was, okay, you know what? I don't want to have any more paper maps in my car. Now I'm going to buy a small device that is going to be a GPS, that is going to have all the maps up to date, and that I am going to be able to get into that system and define which is my starting point, which is my destination, and the system, the GPS, is going to tell me step by step how I am going to be able to move or to go from one step to the other. And we were there, Maps 2.0, right? But now, at some point, after new technology, new evolution, new systems, new platform, everything evolved, and we were able to get into Maps 3.0, the latest version of our maps. And is that now we are able not only to have directions in our hands with our mobile devices, with our tablets, right? Even within incorporated in all the car technology, right? But additional of that, this last version of maps has something important that is completely connected with what we are talking today. And it understands something important, and it is the context of every single user. It means that when you open one of these applications, if you open Google Maps, if you open Waze, if you open Apple Maps, whatever maps that you are using, they understand where you are, who you are, and what are your interests. So it provides automatically the location of the place where you are and what is relevant for you next to you, which are the restaurants that you got, which are the gas stations that you have. If you want to go from one place to the other one, if you are going to have tools on the way or not, if in your way, is there an accident or not? And if there is an accident, if you can actually take a detour to take you to a best route that make you get early to the place that you want. So now this last evolution of the maps is giving us not only technology that is on our hands, quick access, rapid information, real-time information, but also it is understanding the context, where I am, who I am, and which are the important things for me. This is relevant because if you think about what it will happen if you one day you open one of these maps and it is showing you, I don't know, China or Japan or Europe, and you are not there, probably it is not relevant for you. It's not information that is relevant for you. And because of that, probably you are not going to use that system anymore. So these simple examples that show us how customer behavior, how users' behavior is changing or has been changed recently in the last couple of years, with a simple example as how we used to travel by car, it is a great way to understand also that in the same way, businesses and processes are being evolved in the same way. Think about every single activity that you do on your daily activities, and think about, 10 or 20 years ago, right? Going to the bank, sending an email, right? Before we didn't even have emails and we need to send like letters by the postal service, right? Going to a supermarket, going to a restaurant, how it was, even something as simple as going into your kitchen and just extract ice from your refrigerator, how it was 50 years ago. So we have had an evolution in the way on how we consume services, And one of the key success of all of this is to understand what is relevant for the user, who is the user, and how I can customize those experiences. So that's why, in the same way as the technology evolves, we need to be sure that processes evolve so our business will evolve. And that's why we're now seeing so many concepts that are so important and relevant for us. Maybe many years ago, talking about 360-degree view of a customer in a company was not that relevant. Or maybe talking about big data was not important. Or maybe talking about mobile apps was not important. But now, if you don't have a mobile app, you're dead. You're out. If you cannot do integration with external systems, you are not going to be there. If you are not able to innovate constantly, you cannot have what you want. And one of the most important things that is in the middle, if you are not able to create a specific, customized, and great customer experiences, you are out. So that's why with Bizagi, we have been working so hard during all our story to be the one platform for every process that you need. With us, with our platform, you will be able to actually include all these kind of different situations that you have. If you are thinking about one situation where you want to have a custom experience, Bizagi will have an option for you. If you want to have a really simple process, we have an option for you. If you have a core process and strategic processes, we have a process for you. So with one platform, every process, your business will be in the middle, and we will give you options for every single situation that you are looking for. So that's why we say that with Bizagi, you actually have different methods, different features, and different ways to automate different processes. And we have classified the different type of processes that you can automate with Bizagi in four main categories: classic, experience-centric, tactical one, and ad hoc. I'm going to go to one of them really quickly so you can have a better idea. But classic processes are the traditional ones, the one that probably we're most used to handle and work. Those processes that are the ones that usually we say, okay, process X. Step 1, which is the first activity. Step 2, 3, 4, validations, conditionals, endpoint, and that's it. And these are the processes that are really structured processes, that they follow the same steps always in the same order. They don't have too many detours, or they don't have too many exception paths that they get out. No, it follows the same structure all the time. The second one that we have are the experience-centric, and these are also the ones that are known or are called as case management, the one that we're talking about today, and are the processes that we want to focus in our session. And I will just go deeper to them in a while. The third one is going to be the tactical one. And these are the ones that are part of the revolution that we're trying to put in the market, this citizen developer revolution. So how can we empower our citizen developers to help us to automate processes that does not require too much coding, right? Low code for these tactical processes. This is the feature that in Bizagi is called live processes. And the last one are the ones that are called ad hoc processes. And within these ad hoc processes, what we're talking about are situations that we cannot prevent, that are in some way, let's say, almost impossible to prevent when we are in planning, and that actually are situations that occurs in the middle of the execution of a process or in the middle of the day, and we need to react to them. So for them, what we're going to have is basically just these elements or these options that are plans, Bizagi plans, that will allow you to create different activities, different tasks with different checklists to be sure that you are on the track of what you want. So it doesn't matter the type of process that you want to handle. It doesn't matter if it is a simple, if it is a complex, if it requires multiple integration or not integration at all. If you want to have something with no code, or if you want to have something with low code. If you want to have full coding, we have an option for all of you. Today, we're going to focus on the second type of processes that are the ones that are called the experience-centric processes. These experience-centric processes are the ones that are really important for us today, because these are processes that have something really important, really special, and is that they must understand the context of the user, we are going to create experience for that user. We are going to understand what is relevant for that user and how we can achieve those elements that are relevant for them. And these are also the ones that we call as case management. Okay. So in this case management section is that we are going to have type of processes as this one, right? Usually everything that is related with incident management, claims, disputes, frauds, right? Everything about like service requests as the loan origination, among others, classify in this section of case management. And why? Basically, because these are business situations that change dynamically, right? For example, a fraud investigation is not the same always. We cannot define that always we're going to do 1, 2, 3. We can say that this is going to be the baseline, that most of the fraud investigation must follow ABC. But we need to open the door and we need to keep that open, door open to actually have other things that can happen. What happened if within a fraud investigation, we just realize that something really bad happened and we need to trigger, I don't know, we need to call the police or we need to go for a deeper investigation. So we can define baselines, but we need to open the possibility and keep those possibilities open all the time to take different actions according to every single situation. Something important about all of this is that when we are talking about the way on how our processes, our traditional processes, the ones that we call as classical processes, right? These structured processes. Structured processes that are the ones that always follow A, B, C, D, and always is going to be like that, follow an approach that is the one that we call one size fits all. It means that when we're doing that automation, we're not thinking too much about the user that is working on that process, because for us, one size fits all. So the automation that I am going to do for one is going to fit to all the others. I don't want, or I'm not worried to customize experiences. I am not worried to present different information according to the type of user that we have. But when we move to actually these case management applications, these experience-centric applications, we realize that one size doesn't fit all. Because definitely what we need is something more like this. One place where we can customize my experience. One place where I can just go and select specifically with which type of shoe I want. If I want for one shoe for running or for CrossFit, or if I want for long distance or short distance, if I want red, blue, orange, which color do I want it? Whatever I want, I can create it. So case management apps and experience-centric applications are more like this. The one size doesn't fit all. What we need is custom experiences for each of them. So when we're talking about these case management applications, what we are going to have is a completely different mindset in the way on how we automate and we create the automation of a process. We're not going to think about okay, which is the starting point of the process, which is the first activity, which is the first validation point. No, we are going to start thinking about now, which is the experience that I want to keep for my user, which is the data that is relevant for them. And based on that, what is going to happen with the situation? So if I am in a hospital, and in a hospital I have doctors on one side and nurses in the other side, which is the information that is relevant for each of them? Even though that we're talking maybe the same group of patients, the information that I'm going to present is different, right? So if I am talking about the information that is relevant for the doctor, maybe what I want to know if is going to be if the patient has, I don't know, previous surgeries, right? If the patient has any allergy to any medication, while maybe the nurse wants to know about that patient basic information, right? The age, where the patient was born, basically with the reason of why the patient is at the hospital. And according to every single of that, even though that we are using the same information that is the patient, I can start showing different options. So maybe the doctor can have the option to order a surgery for that patient, but the nurse can have the option to just apply an injection or to give some medicine for that user. So my mindset is going to change completely. Now I am not going to think about just processes. I am not going to think about in a sequential line that is A, B, C, D all the time. I am going to start thinking about the data that I am going to have, and additional of the data, I am going to center off the experience that I want to provide to my user. So when we're talking about case management in Bizagi, Bizagi provides two main approaches for case management. From one side is the case management based on people that are, I need to think about a group of users that actually I want to customize the experience. And the second approach is I want to customize the experience, where I want to do case management based on the data. Is the data the one that is going to be in the middle of everything? And I want to know how to customize and how to handle this. If we focus on the first one, that is people, it is pretty important for us to understand the concept of a stakeholder. And a stakeholder is a really important concept for us when we're creating case management apps. Why? Because we already have users in Bizagi, right? At the end, everyone that is working in one process is going to be a user. And because of that, what we need to do is, okay, what is a stakeholder? What it makes a stakeholder different for us? And what we have here, it is from all the users that I have, I want to identify that group of users that are unique and that I want to customize the experience. Who is going to be and which is going to be that group of users? Is going to be the doctors? Is going to be the nurses? Is going to be the lawyers? Is going to be the, the customer service representative? Is going to be the call center agent? Which is the group of users that I want to use to customize the experience? And once that I have identified them, once that I know which are the users that I want to customize and that I understand that stakeholder, how can we personalize those experiences? And here is where we introduce through the design thinking. So, okay, I am working in a process where I have, in a hospital, and I have, again, patient, nurses, doctors. So I identified that for me is relevant to create a custom experience for doctors. So it means I'm going to have a new stakeholder, call it doctor. Now, how can I personalize the experience for that doctor? Following these design thinking phases. So let's empathize with the doctor. Let's try to understand what are their needs, what are the important that are relevant for them, which options are important, which options are maybe not that important. Once that we empathize with that doctor, then let's define everything that is relevant for them. Then ideate one way on how we can put together all those options that are relevant for the doctor, and let's create a prototype where at the end we can go and test it. So if we follow the design thinking option, take a look that we change the mindset and the way on how we build and we actually create our processes. We're not going to just go with, the process owner and say, okay, give me step number one. Okay, step number one. Now step number two, step number two. No, now it's tell me your needs. What do you need? What are the most important things for you? I want to understand you as a user. How I can just challenge those assumptions that you were using before. How to redefine your problems. So if you are struggling a lot because before for you as a doctor, it was so complicated to order a surgery because you don't have an option in the system, then let's make and let's ideate and let's prototype something to let you do something in that way, in a much easier way. So now my mindset is completely different. I am going to start the creation and the automation of my processes, not from the traditional and the classical way, but now thinking in experience, thinking in a stakeholder, or even thinking in the data that I want to have. And because of that, and for all of that, is that with Bizagi, we offer and we provide different options and different alternatives for you. Bizagi has multiple features. It's not only one, are multiple ones that will allow you to create case management applications within Bizagi. how we can create and customize our experiences and how we are able to do everything that I have been telling you in the presentation. So some of the options that we have we have an experience designer, we have elements called triggers, we have options from the notation from BPMN that are conditional event and conditional task. We have one element called action launcher, the polymorphic launcher, and one last step that it will be the Bizagi sites. So let me just jump pretty quickly to our Bizagi Studio application, and let me just show you some of the options that we're going to have it here. So the first thing that I want to talk about, or that I want to show you when we're working with this, is this one. When we're working in Bizagi, when we're doing the process automation, Bizagi Studio, I don't know if all of you know it, but if not, it's good for you to know it. Bizagi Studio has always 3 pre-default views. The first one, the most common one, the traditional one, is the one that you find every time that you open Bizagi Studio for the first time, and is going to be the one that is called the wizard view. This wizard view, it is actually the one that helps you to go through different steps, 7 different steps to automate a process. This is the view that usually we are going to include in our automation when we are talking about when we're handling traditional or classical processes, the ones that are completely structured. We have a second view that is the one that is called the expert view, and this expert view gives you, right, some additional details, some additional technical options that you are going to be able to use it for some situations. And finally, the one that we are really interested in looking forward today, it is the one that is the experience view. So the experience view is the one that allows us to do this design thinking, always starting and always focusing on the group of users. And I want that from the beginning, from the moment that we conceive this feature of creating experience design, we were thinking on how we can make things simple for our user, for our community. And take a look at here, the whole way on how we automate our processes changed dramatically. Here, you don't need to start to, okay, let's define the process name. No, the first and the only thing that you are going to be able to do here, it is, which is the stakeholder that you want to define, which is that group of users that you want to define to customize the experience. And once that you define that stakeholder, in this example, I already have one that is the customer service representative, then I'm going to present the options that I am going to have to customize that experience. So I am creating now a whole experience for customer service representative. Now, what is important for that user? What kind of things I would like to present? Again, remember and try to associate with the map. If I open the map application, what is the first thing that I want to see? Probably my location, the red dot that say you are here, right? So the same way is on how this is working. Once that the user enter, what do you want to display to that user? And here we have 4 main options: actions, my stuff, my searches, and relevant to me. What are all of them? Actions are, if I am, let's go back 1 second, for example, to the doctor example. If I am a doctor and I go and select a patient, what can I do for that patient? Based on my knowledge, based on my experience, what kind of things can I do? So can I have the option, or do I want to have the option to order a surgery, or to order an hospitalization, or to order some medicines, or to what as a doctor I want to do? So these are the elements that are called actions. So if I am a customer service representative, I am going to be able to cancel a booking, or I am going to be able to update the information of a client, or to return a car. What can I do? Something important about the action is that you have 3 options for every single action, and you can decide which is the things or the elements that you are going to have it here. Through an action, you can start a process. You can open a form, or you can execute a rule. So if I am a doctor and I say that I want to order a surgery, the action of ordering a surgery can trigger a new process. Or if me as a doctor, I want to have an action to just update the patient information, maybe I am going to open just a form and a screen and update the information. Or even as a doctor, I am going to be able to say like, I want to discharge this patient. And that maybe will be just one business rule that I can execute. The second option that you can do when you are creating the experiences, this is when you are focusing on people, is to define my stuffs. And what is my stuff? It's which is the data that it is relevant for that stakeholder. So if I am a customer service representative, for me, the information that is important are my clients. And I want to have a direct access to my clients. If I am a doctor, I want to see, or I want to have a direct access to my patients. If I am a nurse, I want to see a direct access to the triage that I have to do. If I am a lawyer, I want to have a direct access to the hearings that I have. So depending on the stakeholder, I can create direct access to the information that is important for them. Third option, searches. This group of users, these stakeholders must have, or if we want, it's not a must, but it can have options to search information that is important for them. So if I am a doctor, I want to search for surgeries, or I want to search for patients, or I want to search for surgery rooms. If I am a customer service representative, I want to search for clients, I want to search for cars. And finally, which are the elements that are relevant for that stakeholder? When we're talking about relevant is which are the most common processes that the stakeholder use. So as a customer service representative, I know that even though that I can do 10 processes, the 2 processes that I use the most, it is to create new cars and to create new clients. And now what happened? Once that we decide to create these type of experiences, once that we go and create a stakeholder, create actions, my stuff, searches, and relevant to me, what is going to happen is that the Bizagi work portal now is going to have and is going to adapt to the situation that we are working. It means that it automatically identifies the user. It knows who is the user. So I know that I am connected as a customer service representative. I know that this is a stakeholder. I understand the context, the information, and what I have defined for that user. And I display this new option that is called the Me menu. And within the Me menu, take a look that I am able to see everything that we just defined. On the left side, the relevant to me processes, the ones that I know that user used the most. Quick access to the information that is important for that stakeholder. Which one? In this example, clients. And when I select the option to see for my clients, I am going to be able to see directly the information that is relevant to me. And these buttons that you have over here are the ones that are actually called as actions. So I am now looking my clients, and for every client, I can trigger some actions. Like what? Maybe I want to book a car for that user or for that client, and that is going to trigger a new process. Or I can just update client information, right? And finally, we are even able to just do searches. Search for clients, search for cars. And according to the search that I am going to perform, I am going to be able to see directly the result and the options that I am going to be able to execute over there. So this is the first way on how I can customize, right, the experience, create these case management apps based on a stakeholder, based on the people, checking what is happening with the people and create the whole experience surrounding them. If we want to go to the last step, if we want to do real customization and get into even further about the customization and the experience for stakeholders, we must always try to go for what in Bizagi is called the Bizagi sites. And is how I can replace this element, this Bizagi work portal, Bizagi traditional work portal, to a full customized site where I can add any element that I want. Images, buttons, integration with external systems, change headers, banners, add, YouTube videos, maps, whatever I want, to be sure that the stakeholder that is connecting here is having the custom experience that we want to keep to him. Okay? So this is when we're following this approach, right? That is focusing on people. Take into account that even Bizagi has the flexibility to take even traditional and structured processes to a different level using these objects. What I mean with this is, once that I identify that my customer service representative is a stakeholder, that I want to create a custom experience for it, and that I have this list of actions, I can even include those actions that can be displayed now as part of a traditional process. So if I have a traditional process that has step A, B, C, D, following the same steps always, and I know that I am here, for example, creating a new client, I can include those elements that we create for the experience design that are actually the ones called actions as part of one of my traditional forms, where from here directly I can upgrade the client to a new level, right? So now I would like that this client is going to be gold. And this is an action that I am going to have directly through the level that I am going to have in my activity, okay? Now, what happened when instead of trying to create the experience with the approach that is focused on people in stakeholders, I want to try to create actually a case management apps, but now focusing on the data. So what happened if I don't care if it is the customer service representative, or if it is a doctor, or if it is the nurse, or if it is the lawyer, or if it is whatever, I don't care the people, but I care about the data. I care about the information that I have stored in my systems. So for that, Bizagi has also options that allow you to customize your experience in a different way and to actually build highly dynamically and unstructured processes in your applications. So let's suppose that now I don't care which is the user, I don't care which is the stakeholder, and what I care it is which is the data, the information, the values that I have on my system, and that I want to have someone listening all the time what is happening with those values. Because I know that if some value change, maybe I want to take an action immediately. Let me give you one simple example. Imagine that you have a list of clients, and inside of your clients, you have maybe something that let you know if a client is a VIP or not. And you know that once that a client converts into a VIP, maybe you have a campaign ready for that user. So take a look that now, even in that scenario, I don't care which is the one that is handling the client. I don't care if it is a customer service representative. I don't care if it is the call center. I don't care if it is a branch or an office. No, what I care it is that once that the client, for any reason, makes to the VIP level, I want to take an action immediately. That is something that we can do directly in Bizagi with elements that are called triggers. That basically with triggers, what I am going to be able to do is, okay, you know what? Now, for the client entity, or for the car entity, for the table where I store the information of my clients or my cars, let's check when the car is rented. Because as soon as someone say that the car is being rented, I want to start a new process, or I want to execute an expression. So if I know that the car is rented, I want to start a process to maybe, I don't know, update my inventory, or to contact the dealer to just see how many cars do we have, or to send an email to the client that rent that car. If I know that a customer or a client converts into a VIP, I want to send a new campaign to the customer. I want to include the client into a new invitation for a restaurant. Whatever I want to do, I want to have it and control it here. And I am not caring here, even if it is a user, even if it is stakeholder, I don't care. I am worried about more here about the data, how I am going to control the data, and how my system, my platform, my processes reacts when I have a change in the data. In the same way on how we just saw that triggers can work, we also have another element that are the ones that are actually called the intermediate conditional events or intermediate conditional tasks. That are elements like this one, where I can have added into processes that can be structured processes, but if I want to add some dynamic into that process, some change within that process, I can leave this conditional intermediate event or conditional intermediate task to actually modify the process. So I say, as soon as the client makes the VIP level, then let's start this branch of the process. As soon as the client cancels the process, let's take the following branch of the process. So with these options, you have now the flexibility to create in Bizagi your case management apps. Either if you want to have full control based on people, it means focusing completely in the experience and the customization that you want to have for stakeholders, or if you want just to focus completely on everything that is going to be data. Okay? So with this, guys, we are going to finish our session today.